House Republicans today trying to show that they are indeed serious about cutting spending. Debate now underway on a resolution aimed at slashing all non-military spending to 2008 levels. Florida Republican Congressman Daniel Webster calling it the first step in shutting the spending spigot. Congressman, easier said than done. What amounts of money are we talking about here?
Well, I think when you see the '08 budget, you're going to see a rollback to that point. I think it's going to be a significant amount.
What's a significant amount?
Well, the problem is we've already done, by the time we pass this, about 5 months of the current budget at Democrat spending levels. So we're talking about the budget you're in right now. Right. So I would think at least 60, but I think most of us that are new, we want $100 billion out of it.
But I hear that it's almost impossible, at least structurally, the way things are now, to get the $100 billion. That when I talked to Congressman Ryan, who's going to be running your budget committee and also giving the Republican counter to the president's address tomorrow, 50 or 60 is as good as it'll get, and not much more. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think we can do it because we added in the Rules Committee an amendment that says it's the '08 budget or less, and I think that gives the '08 budget becomes the maximum of the minimum, and so we got an opportunity to now go below that '08, and I believe we've got a real opportunity to do it, and I believe we will.
Do you feel the pressure from Tea Partiers? I was just talking to Jack Kimball, the New Hampshire GOP chair, who says conventional ways of going about cutting aren't going to cut it. In other words, he'd like to see a lot more. Tea Partiers would like to see a lot more. And what you're offering isn't a lot more. What do you say to that?
Well, I think it's a first step, and that's what we're talking about. It's not our budget. It's a continuing resolution. We're going to try to modify it and make it as good as we can. You're going to see it really happen when we begin developing our budget, which will take effect October 1. But
we'd have to wait till then, in other words. I'm showing ignorance of the process here, Congressman. Why can't you rip up whatever they agreed to or did, because it was largely repudiated by Americans anyway last November?
Yeah, I think you're going to see cuts right now, and that's going to be the first step. I think you're going to see real budget reform so that we actually do a budget. We went through a whole year without even having one. So we're going to do a budget, and when we do it, you're going to see prioritization. You're going to see cuts that are much deeper than these.
All right. In the meantime, on the debt ceiling, we'll be getting this later in the show. Where do you stand, Congressman? Would you raise it or risk not raising it if there are no accompanying spending cuts or commitments?
We'd have to get an awful lot for me to vote to raise it.
Really?
I don't see anything wrong with going, paying cash for a while.
So what does that mean? The tax revenues are still coming in. What would you do?
Well, I think you spend what you have. That's all you can do if it comes to that. Or you get something big out of it, like tying it to health care. Health care repeal for that would be worth it.
Congressman, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.